Morning. I'd like to call the July 12th, 2022 County Board meeting to order. Today's invocation is from Aaron Dunno.
Let's pray. Lord, thank you for another day. Thank you for another opportunity to come and work on what you would have us to. Help the words that we have, the actions that we take are there for you, for the people of this county, and take us out to do what we need to do beyond that afterwards. Amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If we could get a roll call, please.
Mr. Hess. Mr. Tholen. Mrs. Polk. Mr. Snipes. Mr. Seroy.
Present.
Mr. Lear.
Present.
Mrs. Weber.
Present.
Mrs. Peters. Mrs. Parker.
Present.
Mr. Fairfield.
Present.
Mr. Carrico.
Present.
Mr. Eckhoff. Mr. Swanson. Mr. Featherling.
Present.
Mr. Donnell.
Present.
Mr. Miller.
Present.
Mr. Long.
Present.
Mr. Kirkstra. Mr. Hunter. Ms. Bryan. Mr. Collins. Ms. Hudson.
Present.
Mr. Smith.
Present.
Mr. Alexander Hildebrand.
Present.
Mr. Gowler. Mr. Raymond.
Present.
Mr. Wheeler.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Could you get Ms. Polk, please? She was.
Dr. Polk is here.
Duly noted, Mrs. Polk.
Thank you, Dr. Polk. Under public commentary, we have one today from Lori Gadboy.
Good morning. To market and develop branded Kankakee County destination experiences to enhance community economic growth and quality of life. Chairman Wheeler and the county board members, I am here today to share with you my concerns as your representative on the Convention and Visitors Bureau Board. By now you are aware what transpired at our last CVB meeting. I will not go into specific details other than Board Member Boyd was rude and argumentative at our last board meeting, and this was not the first time. In no time since Board Member Boyd joined the CVB has he ever in a professional, polite manner had a discussion with the executive board, board members, or administrative team to talk about wants, needs, or ideas. He has at most meetings presented an ugly, bully manner. There was a past meeting where I even raised my hand to him during this aggressive behavior, and of course, I was told to put it down. Was my action appropriate? Was Stacy's action appropriate? Probably not, but enough is enough. Yelling, being argumentative, and loud takes a toll on any person in any organization, and this is definitely not appropriate. As you know, the role of a board member is to establish budgets, set goals, and let your hired team do their job. And as a chartered CVB that receives grant dollars from the state, we are also required to market and promote outside of Kankakee County to draw tourism into our county. Our CVB has undergone a complete new branding of our county that has been done by Stacy and her team. Sadly, Stacy made a personal decision to resign, effective August 1st. She was not asked to resign, and we can't blame her. This job did not include accepting the ugly, unruly behavior by a board member. What a loss to our county. Stacy's professional leadership in the CVB will be missed. In her true professional manner, she has continued her role during this exit period, even encouraging and promoting the annual CVB luncheon to showcase what has been going on and what we hope to achieve. The CVB has always been about the county of Kankakee. This includes all communities and assets. The funding for this office is through the hotel motel tax that is collected over and above the state imposed tax of 6.25% that is on each hotel bill. Bradley currently has the most hotels. The collected dollars from hotel stay our guests, and these dollars are used to entice, lure niche markets to come to Kankakee County. What are they? They're bus tours, small, medium-sized meetings and conventions, sporting events, the fair and festivals. And there are ongoing in many of our villages and city of Kankakee. We have a local facilities and our colleges hosting events that the CVB partners with to ensure the best experience to bring these groups back again and again. The dollars spent by any of these people, and more than just the hotel tax collected, it's the gas they fill up with, the lunch or dinner out at any of our restaurants, and spending money in any of the retail operations within the county. Why don't we see it? These dollars are coming in. Residents don't see the impact on any of the communities or the county, but the hotels, the gas stations, restaurants, and retail operations do. And remember, this is over and above the hotel tax paid by the guests in the hotels, not the residents in the county. For over 30 years now, this has been funds spent to attract visitors to our area, originally agreed upon by the partnering communities. And yes, all along, Bradley has probably had the most hotels. But Bradley then seen the great opportunity this was to promote our region and showcase our area to outside guests. And yes, the CVB has helped financially with startup events. The recent fishing derby, if one was to look back on how it was started up, the CVB was right there helping them. The CVB has also provided additional promotional dollars when a venue or an event meets with the CVB team. They'll work it into the budget to help them out. Stacy and I recently presented before this board on the progress the CVB has been making, opening a new location, recapping how the CVB operated during COVID as a one-man shop, never stopping or missing a step, and always finding ways to keep the promotion of our county going. We also talked about the overall positive financial picture that the state of Illinois has disclosed about tourism in the state. We're part of that. I would like to commend all of you for your professional behavior when you are gathered to do business of the county. Thank you for being a great example. I started with this and now I'm ending with this. The mission statement of the CVB is to market and develop branded Kankakee County destination experiences to enhance community, economic growth, and quality of life. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. We have some business to take care of. I guess on one hand unfortunate, another fortunate that we have one of our board members leaving us, but we have a good replacement that is going to be asked to be voted on today. And also the resignation of one of our countywide elected officials, Dr. Greg Murphy. So if it would be okay, I would like to combine the first and the third item to vote on these resignations together, if there's a motion on that, because we have to vote on those officially in the board meeting, even though those were already submitted. Mr. Long, Mr. Dunhill, is there any discussion on any of this? All righty, Mr. Lear. Hold on just one moment, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I've had the opportunity to work with Dr. Greg Murphy in terms of the county board's liaison with the regional superintendent's office, and he's always been a very professional person, and his efforts are going to be something that will be remembered. We're sad to see him go, but we're glad that he's going to get a chance to enjoy himself in retirement.
I concur. It's been a pleasure working with Dr. Murphy, and you know, we don't see or we're not directly involved with schools as a purview of the county. We just provide them a home, if you will, and those types of things. But I know the dedication he has, the work that he's done, and I think that we've helped out, I would hope, over the years with the new facility and some of the things we've done there to further that mission. So Is there any other comments regarding Dr. Murphy? Yes, and what about obviously Mr. Payton as well?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'd just like to offer my sincere feelings regarding Commissioner Sam Payton, who has served this body well. And he, when I came on this board, he reached out and provided me with a lot of specificity, insight in terms of how this governmental unit runs. Having been on the city side for 40 years, there was a transition, and the chairman, as well as Mr. Payton, were ably there to assist me and provide me with information on the governmental unit. We're going to miss Sam's smile. He has served Pembroke Township well. And it's amazing now that when you see the relationship with the mayor of the village of Hopkins Park, the mayor and Sam Payton, the township supervisor, working well together. And I think they've made historic advancements in terms of improving the quality of life for its residents. So Sam, we're going to miss you. Come back and visit us, and you'll be ably I guess replaced by Rosemary Foster, who was a phenomenal person who served well as a trustee on the village board of Hopkins Park. So anyway, good people coming from Pembroke, and we're going to have a wonderful lady who will represent you and your area well.
I could not agree more, and it's not a loss. We're still going to be working together. I think you still have a wastewater facility that we're working with you on, but it is going to be tough not seeing you here. Your grace, your professionalism has been a pleasure. Thank you, sir. Any other comments, please? Well, then we could do a voice vote. Mr. Coughlin?
Yes, sir.
All those in favor of accepting the resignation, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. So with that, we would like to entertain the number 108. If we can get that read into the record, please.
Resolution of the County Board of Kankakee County approving the appointment of Rosemary Foster to the Kankakee County Board to fill the unexpired term in District 4.
Is there a motion to approve this, Mr. Hunter? I'll go with Dr. Polk on this. Any other comment? So we can go, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Please join us, and we will be sworn in. Ms. Foster, I'm sorry. Certificates, not yet. No, we're getting those.
Like here?
Yes, please. The mic over here. He's going to swear you in.
Family members, join them.
Can I get you ready?
Hey, Jack.
Jack, you got a good angle? Okay, then you raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Rosemary Foster,
Having been appointed to the office of County Board, District 4
of County Board, District 4
in the County of Kankakee
in the County of Kankakee
and the State of Illinois,
and the State of Illinois,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties
the duties
of County Board, District 4
of County Board, District 4
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Congratulations. She's gonna get her purse.
So the next order of business, While Ms. Foster is having her seat, is the appointment of Frank Petkunis. If we could get that actually read into the record, please.
Resolution of the County Board of Kankakee County, Illinois, regarding the appointment of Frank Petkunis as Regional Superintendent of Schools for Iroquois and Kankakee counties.
So is there a motion on this one? Mr. Hess, Ms. Parker with a second. I can tell you that here's the process on this. It's different than every other one I think that we do. There's a nominating committee, I believe it's called. It's the chairman of Kankakee and Iroquois counties, and it's weighted by population. So that's how that works. They have to appoint down there, well, accept resignations and then appoint down there just like we do as well. So he's appearing on their board agenda today as well. So this would take effect, I believe, at the beginning of the month is the appointment. So there's no gap in coverage of that office. So, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Congratulations, sir. We'll swear you in after the first of the month. Dan will be all over that. Oh. Thank you, sir. Moving on. Under presentations, it's an exciting day for a couple reasons. This is one of them. Today, we're fortunate to be able to kick off our Kankakee County needs assessment. And joining us today, something we've been working on, by the way, for quite a while to make sure we do this the right way, very methodically, because the data is something that we are absolutely interested in this process. So with us today is Kankakee Mayor Chris Curtis, and we also have Eddie Barreo from Rincon Family Services, as well as the team from Respark. And so I just wanted to kind of give you a brief recap up to date while they're kind of taking their places at the microphones. So as the board here knows that we started off with these committees to try to hear what the public wanted to do, what they were interested in, and what are the things that they thought were necessary for our community. And that turned into a lot of submissions for things that were quite expensive, as you remember, and somewhat redundant in certain areas, a lot of competition in those requests. So we shifted gears to use that information, and that went on for about a month and a half, if you remember, use that information to help seed the ideas that we're talking about now in terms of things that are missing in our community that would help connect all the other efforts out there in areas like mental health, physical health, substance abuse, recidivism, criminal justice, the whole community that we live in. We know what we do. We're looking for the things where there's gaps. And so going through that process, you need to have a needs assessment, because then that's everybody putting in on it community-wide, including the subject matter experts. So we want the public's input from high school through college, through young adult, through obviously senior, their opinion of the workforce issues we have in the area, but we also want the workforce people's opinion as well. And then we're extrapolating a lot of that data. So this is where we're at. And if we can identify and then coordinate change and then move the needle even in the slightest, we'll make a substantial positive impact for the taxpayers as well as a direct impact on people's lives. That's what we've said all along, that it makes financial sense and it makes a human sense to go down this road that we're talking about. And so with that, I'll introduce Mayor Chris Curtis, and he has a few words to say about the process and what we're hoping to achieve, and then he'll introduce the rest of the group.
Thank you, Chairman Wheeler, and County Board. Appreciate you having us here today. We're honored on behalf of the City of Kankakee to be partnering with Kankakee County on this mission here. They have this assessment needs program, is going to be a valuable asset not only to the City of Kankakee, but all the municipalities throughout Kankakee County. And we're going to be able to dive deep and hear from the residents and hear from the community leaders of what they think is needed so that we can point our financial resources and our other resources that we have to tackle these big hurdles that we have ahead of us. In the city, we're fortunate a lot of times that we have a lot of grant funding. We have a lot of initiatives and different things that don't only have to work in the City of Kankakee. We can work with other communities, whether it's rehabbing of homes, lead programs. We're partnering with the county right now with the land bank. We're really trying to make an effort to work with the school district, the private schools, the park district, to use some of our financial resources, not just in the City of Kankakee, but for our neighboring communities, because we all work with one another and we all impact one another. And City of Kankakee being the largest municipality within the county, what happens in the City of Kankakee affects Bradley, Bourbonnais, Bondfield, Herscher, Moments, whatever goes there. So we felt it was very important to partner with the county here to be able to hear what is needed, to come up with the results from the survey, and then see how we can use our resources along with also chasing additional funding that we can help not only City of Kankakee, but everybody within the Kankakee County area and even outside of it somewhere. So at this time, we're excited to be part of that. I'm excited to see the results. We encourage everybody to go on the information that's going to be provided to you today and take the survey. And at this time, I'd like to introduce Eddie and his team with Recount to kind of promote how we're going to go about this and what the future efforts are to get this done, because it will be a very quick timeline here that we need to move on. And I just want to say, on behalf of the City of Kankakee, we're 100% committed to work and everything with Eddie and his team and Chairman Wheeler and the County Board.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, thank you so much for having us here, Chairman Wheeler, esteemed Board Commissioners of Kankakee County. My name is Eddie Borrell. I'm the President and CEO for Rincon Family Services. I'm here today pretty much to kind of tell you we're about to kickstart something that is going to really transform our community and really give us a lens. So just a quick narrative. Next slide, please. How do we get here? Pretty much we recall COVID-19 and the ARPA funds coming into Kankakee County. We have about $21.3 million for the county. And one of the challenge was, how do we best use the resources? And this is where we're looking at with the community needs assessment. Understand community needs. What are some of the community needs there? Identify the programs and the projects. And of course, providing meaningful impacts and building capacity. How do we do that? It's can we go to the next slide? It's really being very intentional with the community needs assessment, going in there and really building different platforms to have a very inclusive way of engaging the communities, looking at it from the macro, pretty much looking at institutions, what is available out there, doing interviews, but then going into the actual community stakeholders to really listen and create a plan from there. We're working with Respark, which is Patrick Curran, that's going to be presenting more of the details, but this is where we're calling into the community and everyone here to be able to go into the QR code, provide that needs, do that needs assessment, but also come in and come to the focus groups that we're going to be promoting, so we could have a clear picture. What are the community needs? And then we'll be able to present that to you. So very intentional decisions will follow suit right after. So I want to introduce Patrick Curran, that's going to give us more step-by-step what are the next steps in the next couple of weeks on creating this community needs assessment. And then we'll be back shortly after, once the report is completed, to give you in detail what were the outcomes based on all the data that's collected. One of the things I want to highlight, Chairman emphasized it over and over, this process is going to be very data driven. So we're very excited to, once the data is collected and packaged, to present it to you. So Patrick Curran from Respark.
Thank you, Eddie. Chairman and the County Board, thank you for having me this morning. And I want to just thank you all for inviting us into this process. Subcommittee of the county reviewed our proposal a couple months ago at this point, and then through that we've been working both with the chairman and with Mayor Curtis and some other stakeholders in the county to design this assessment. So I'm going to share a bit with you about the process, but I just want to start with that note of thanks. Several of you in the room have been engaged in this process thus far and helped us define the assessment and determine what the scope should be to meet the community needs. I couldn't be here today presenting this information with you without your partnership to move this process forward. If we could go back one slide for just a moment. I'd also like to point out, it's been stated several times that the timeline for this project is fairly short, and part of our understanding of the county's needs was to try to turn this data around quickly and not to have an elongated process, but instead to have something that could get meaningful results into the hands of decision makers in a reasonable amount of time. And so I just want to highlight, as this slide is pointing out, and those of you on the board have this as part of the agenda, that the there's a balance in what our approach has been to move quickly and also be as inclusive as possible. And so we'll be asking you at the end of our comments today to help continue to move that forward and get county residents engaged in this process so we can understand what they think, what their needs are, what they believe you as their leaders can do for them, and then begin to put the resources to work. So thank you for these few minutes. I'll try to move quickly and we'll have a little opportunity for questions. Next slide, please. You may recall from the proposal, we proposed a 4-phase project that began in the middle of May following the county board meeting. And we've been working over the first 2 phases with the chairman, with Mayor Curtis, and with others from around the county to define the scope of the assessment, what the specific areas are that we would be looking into. The chairman enumerated some of those. And then to begin to design and build the data collection process. So that includes primarily the countywide survey, which is open, and we'll be talking more about that in just a minute. Also some focus groups, one-on-one interviews, and a large amount of documented data on some of the community organizations, local nonprofits, agencies, et cetera, that our team will be assessing to really try to understand what's working today in those institutions and how they're serving the residents of Kankakee County, and where there are gaps, where those institutions can partner together to meet needs differently, using the resources they have or expanding some of the resources with new funding. So as of today, the public data collection process is open. There is an online survey that went live this morning. It's in both English and Spanish. We'll be talking about that in just a minute. But you can see in the timeline there, phases 1 and 2 are complete. The data collection process has been ongoing and goes more broad beginning today. The survey and the focus groups will be conducted throughout the month of July. And when we get to August, our team will then kind of go behind the screen and begin assessing and processing all of the data that's collected. And we expect to have no more than a 4-week turnaround to assess the data, help you identify the trends and what's happening, and then produce for you a set of recommendations about the types of action that will create a meaningful difference in the community based on what your community members have said. Next slide, please. So at the beginning of this process, you may recall from the proposal, there were a few projected timelines, and we said we would be flexible to work with the county to understand what would meet your needs. This is the project timeline that was kind of crafted based on some of the milestones in the project and what made sense to the county. So I just want to point out in the middle of those, today is July 12th. And as we said, the survey is open as of today. So all of your county your community residents, which you represent, you can encourage them to take the survey. We will also be conducting a couple of focus groups this week. And then we'll be, our team will be working with Kankakee Community College on July 25th, 26th, and 27th to conduct a much broader set of focus groups. It'll be pretty intensive over those 3 days. So we'll have lots of folks from around the county participating there. And then, as I mentioned, in August, we will be writing the report, and the expected completion date of the report is the end of the month. Next slide, please. So just a little bit about what's already been done. Through the conversations and the feedback that we've received from many of you, there were 5 areas of potential needs and social services around the county that were identified. You can see those in the diagram on the left there. And excuse me for a moment, my eyes aren't that good. Where are we frozen here? Anyway, so the needs, I apologize. Thank you. Workforce development, housing, mental and physical health, business and economic development, and law enforcement and recidivism. Those 5 areas were identified as places that need to be better understood in terms of what may have shifted since the pandemic and just with other trends changing in the community over the last couple of years. Obviously, as Chairman Wheeler mentioned, there are some areas that currently do regular assessments. Many of those areas go unassessed, or they have not been assessed since the pandemic. So the intention here is to help get current data about how needs have changed in those areas, and particularly to understand cross-linkages and interdependence within those areas of scope. So to date, The team has conducted more than 35, I think the latest count was actually 40 interviews. We've invited over 120 people to participate in interviews in lists that were identified by the chairman and the mayor and some of their advisors and representatives. We will continue to conduct interviews. So if you know people who would like to sit down for a one-on-one interview, it's a short process, but it helps us understand some of the kind of distinct needs, and particularly from folks like yourselves who are elected representatives and are speaking for many voices in the community. The interviews are a very helpful set of data that we collect. From those, we then developed the survey, which, as I mentioned, has gone live today. The survey is designed to be brief. So this is one of the most challenging parts of the assessment, to develop a survey that can be completed in 10 to 12 minutes. It's got about 40 questions on it and has been framed both in English and Spanish. And after hearing your responses and who you wanted to hear from in the community, it was determined we actually needed to create 2 surveys, one for youth ages 14 to 17, and one for other residents ages 18 and older. So there are 4 versions of the survey that are live today. They all reflect similar areas, but they have slightly distinct questions to understand the needs and mindsets of some of those populations. So everyone in the county can take it. We encourage anyone and everyone who wants to do it. The more data we get, the better we can help you kind of understand what's going on. And then, as I mentioned, the focus groups, we have currently capacity to run more than 20 focus groups, and more than 20 subpopulations have been identified for those groups. So we just encourage people to sign up for the focus groups. Not everyone who expresses interest will be asked to participate because there is a capacity bandwidth, but we have the ability to have between 200 and 300 participants in the focus groups. So hopefully with that, again, we can get a very broad selection of county residents, bring them all together, and really understand the distinct perspectives. Obviously, in a survey, there's some limitation. With the focus groups, we can dig in a little bit and find out what's really going on for people. So that's kind of a high overview of the process. Again, the data collection aspect will end on July 31st, and at that point, we'll formally transition into interpreting the data. At this point, I'd be happy to take any questions about the process, Chairman.
Please, this is your time to kind of ask questions. We could have Jasmine speak to how, you know, she's gotten this out in the community with her partners. Maybe that might be good because some of the questions might be there. Jasmine, did you want to at least fill people in on at the microphone about where you've gone and kind of how this is working and being coordinated with the city and the other communities? Is it able to be put up on the screen, the flyer? Okay. Yeah, just leave it.
Is this on?
Yeah.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I did speak to Mayor Curtis this morning, so just to start, we have been working together with the city of Kankakee. David Guzman, the mayor's executive assistant, he and I have had a couple of talks so far, and we will be meeting this week. As the board members are aware, I send a lot of emails. Yeah, so to start off, we started off with the press release today. I did put that available in a media toolkit, so I know Chris is here from the Daily Journal, but if there are any other media partners, they will be getting that as well. A lot of printed materials, so when I got back from vacation last week, I just kind of went out in the community. I know part of the reason is best face-to-face. A lot of people are not always checking social media, so I went out to grocery stores, office buildings, local business owners. Dollar Tree, I'm still trying to get in there because a lot of people come in and out of Dollar Tree, and they actually have a community board. So libraries, churches, hospitals, local clubs, the YMCA was a part of our Kiwanis meeting yesterday. So I spoke to him about, can we get this in front of the parents, childcare programs. Working with the schools, I need to touch base with them again about getting them into the summer school programs, virtual backpacks. That's going to be a big one. Local colleges, this is open to youth and young kids as well. So if they're 18 or older, I just had a young lady back here take it. So I'm going to ask her in a minute how long did it take her. I think she was the very first one to take it. Social services, we've been sending out emails to the recipients of the ARPA funds as well as people who have applied for ARPA funds. So this is really the time to get in there deep to take that survey so we can really figure out those partnerships. Community organizations as well. And then the last thing I want to mention is we have established, this is kind of nothing new, but we have a Kankakee County Community Outreach Leadership Team. What's different about this team is that most of us have either a communications role or an outreach role. So a lot of us come together once a month, we talk about what's happening in the community, and then they are aware of the survey. So our partners, other partners such as Lindy Casey, Community Director of the Village of Bourbonnais, or Sarah from the Village of Mantino. So really working all together to get this message out. The board members as well. And then the survey is open to everyone, so we really want to get as much feedback as possible. I stress to our leadership team that it really helps when we get these messages out there, so we kind of divide and conquer. Where can we share this together? So it's been fun, but we're going to keep sharing all of this as well. You're going to start to see social media posts. You're going to start to see short media graphics, maybe a couple of videos here and there. So kind of just everything. Yep.
So share it, I guess, is the if it's on social, and if you walk by your local library and there's not one of those flyers in the window, there needs to be, because that's the whole point of it. Walk by it, scan it, do it at your leisure. You know, we just want anybody and everybody to take that survey, because all the data is the more data the better, I guess, is probably the best way. So any questions about the process, anything, please? Yes, just a moment, please. Get your mic on. There you go.
Okay, I have a question. If a person is not on social media, can they do the survey paper-wise? Do you have that already available, like for seniors?
I appreciate the question, and again, because of the time constraint, our team decided that we would only do a digital survey. There are several ways to take it digitally, so you don't have to be on social media. The QR code, which is actually on the screen right now, anyone with a smartphone can scan that. If you don't have a smartphone, right, or you don't have internet access in your home, any of the public libraries, you know, you can access the computer there. And we've actually worked with Jasmine, and our team has built a little how-to guide to help some of the volunteers in those locations. I know several community churches have said that they would put a volunteer forward to help members of their community complete the survey online. So it's very simple to take it in its digital format, and it's also very easy for someone who is comfortable on the technology to assist them doing that, and they can still submit their responses. Unfortunately, collecting a paper survey within the timeline that we have and keeping the integrity of the data stable wasn't really an option in this case, but we did try to think about how best can we access other community members who may not be on social media, may not have a smartphone, may not have regular internet access. So that's some of the things in the way that we've designed the assessment. And I know Eddie would like to speak to some of the things that other community organizations are doing to actually bring people in.
So the other thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at some of our partner agencies and asking them to, if they have a computer lab, to be able to do it. For example, Dwayne Dean Behavioral Health here in the city of Kankakee. We're going to have our offices and our case managers and counselors ready to assist any community members that is interested in completing the survey. It is 10 to 12 minutes, so it's going to be very quick. So we'll have staff members that could assist community members to help.
Mr. Hunter?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Gentlemen, I'm really impressed with the scope and depth of your presentation and your articulation of this particular project. As a county board member, can Jasmine facilitate the interviews for us as county board members, or how might that be done?
Thank you, Mr. Hunter. The interviews are conducted by our team. All of the data collection is done by us as a kind of neutral third party, so we keep it that way. Anyone who would like to have an interview that has not yet had an interview, you can feel free to reach out to me directly. There's an email, and we can resend the email, Chairman. Has my contact information, and another one of our team leads, Jonathan Wittig, also has his contact information, so we're happy to schedule that. If you want to grab me at some point today, I'm not sure if we'll be here all the way to the end of the meeting, feel free to reach out. Within the survey, at the end of the survey, there's also an option that says if you would like to be contacted for additional either interviews or focus groups, fill out that part of the survey. That information is collected separately from your responses. So the survey responses stay anonymous, but if you put your name and email in there, then it signals to us we'd like to talk with you, or you'd like to talk with us. And we have the original list of all of the elected officials, and so obviously we'll be able to match that with the folks who haven't yet been interviewed, and we'd be happy to reach out.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anything else, Mr. Snipes?
Thank you. The microwave approach to the tab line is applaudable because I know you're up under time constraints, but I have just two questions, two concerns. My first is, and it looks like you tapped upon it, but I want to make sure that in this, as we go through the capacity bandwidth, that it is inclusive of the it has the general voices of the minorities, the senior citizens, and the small businesses. I don't want them to be eliminated in the incubator process. And then number two, the question is, will we be able to use this data? Because I know you're up under time strain, but it looks like you're accumulating this data for other opportunities to explore other grant opportunities to be able to explore even after this particular project.
Thank you, Mr. Snipes. So let me try to take that in two parts, and if I missed something, let me know. In terms of including as many voices as possible from the community, and particularly, I was pleased and I would say mutually concerned. As we spoke with people about designing the assessment, there was a lot of awareness on the part of representatives in the community of underrepresented voices, and whether ethnic or racial minorities, new trends, people moving into the county, whether they're seniors or young adults. As I mentioned, we decided to add an entire portion of the survey based on that feedback. So we have really tried to design the scope to hear from as many people as possible. The focus groups have identified over 20 subpopulations that include ethnic and racial minorities, certain age demographics, other ways that people identify, such as small business owners. So the best way you can continue to help us make sure that we hear from those voices is have a one-on-one conversation with us. And part of the questions for those of you that participated in the interviews, that we asked you directly, who do you think we need to hear from? Right? And that was the opportunity to do that. Small businesses have been identified as a part of that group. And so our hope is that we will get enough small business leaders who sign up to participate in a focus group, and we'll be able to shape a focus group specifically with those community members. So that's the way that the focus groups run. The more people that sign up, the better the groups will be. So again, encourage people to sign up, encourage people to participate. We'll be able to shape that. I'm sorry, remind me the second part of your question.
The second part was, will we be able to utilize this this research and data to probably pursue additional grant opportunities even after this has expired or been utilized?
Sure. So like any survey data, it has a life. So as long as you're kind of close to when we collect the data, it makes sense to use it, but things change in the community. So it's not the kind of thing that goes on forever. It's a current state snapshot. The data is available to the county for this project. If other communities would like to talk with ReSpark or through the county about how to leverage that data to pursue additional grants or do other more focused studies for their municipality or certain community segments, we'd be more than happy to talk about how to do that. If that's something that is led by us, or if you simply need the data different ways, we can help support that effort.
Thank you.
Yep.
Commissioner Snipes, the other thing that we're looking at the data is also for our community-based organizations, so they're able to look at what are some of the trends that's happening and then create coalitions to go after either state or federal grants. So the more data that we have to support the grant, the better. And this is where we're looking at leveraging what is out there, using the ARPA dollars to get us the data, because we have a lot of anecdotal information out in the community. This will really give us some hard data to really solidify a grant proposal, either at the state level or at the federal level. But good opportunity as well as to create coalitions and collaborations with our local CBOs.
Thank you, sir.
Is that it?
To address Commissioner Foster, by the way, congratulations. Exciting day for you. The city of Kankakee, we do have our summer youth program going on right now, so I will offer anybody that doesn't have internet access or isn't, we'll call that tech savvy. If they come into the city of Kankakee and come into the mayor's office, my assistant, David Guzman, will be happy to get them with one of our summer youth who are very tech savvy, and we can have them take the survey on one of our computer systems at City Hall. So we'll make that announcement at our city council also, but we'll promote that also, that we'll utilize those young minds that are very good at navigating electronics, and so we can offer that.
Well, I hope you see that the biggest goal now is to make sure we and everybody else is sharing this with as many people as we can to get the survey, because to many people's points, if we want a certain population to get a response, well then don't look, I'd say look internally to get that message out to that respondent that you're trying to target. So I know we're gonna do everything we possibly can. We got people running all over the county to get these posters up, but sometimes it may be just the people down the block. You know, so let me know if you need any help. Let Jasmine know we're here. We're partnering with obviously the city. Their team's going to handle the city side of it, obviously, and get out to everywhere inside of the Kankakee. Eddie's handling the Spanish-speaking population, so his team is going to get out to them to make sure they have every opportunity to respond. So we're trying to touch every base we possibly can here. So I thank you for your time coming in. I think it's the community sees that the city and the county working together, and also for things that benefit every other municipality is a good thing in this area.
So
Thanks, guys.
just as a closing word, Chairman, again, thank you for having us this morning. And I just want to direct everybody, please take the survey, help us identify whoever you think should participate in a focus group, people that have unique perspectives, they represent certain minorities. If you know distinct communities, like Mr. Snipes mentioned, small business owners, if there are a few small business owners that are particularly articulate about the experience of small business owners, let's get them in a focus group. So encourage people to sign up for those. Those will be, there are some this week on Wednesday, tomorrow, but then as I mentioned, the 25th, 26th, 27th. And finally, many of you and other leaders from around the community will be invited to participate in a broader workshop in the afternoon on July 27th. So if you get that email, please participate and encourage others who have been invited to participate in that. That'll be one of the most important steps in this process before the actual analysis of the data. So thank you for having us, and we're really excited to continue working with you in this project.
Thank you for coming. Take care. Alrighty, lots of business, so we'll move on. Today we have no proclamations, but we do have certificates of appreciation. If there's anybody here, obviously please stand and come up and get the certificate. I have Patricia, is it Krugman from the Health Department? Did I say that right? Matthew Samples from the Sheriff's Department, both at 10 years. 15 years, Stephen Lamb from the Health Department, and Tamika Taylor from the Circuit Clerk's Office. At 20 years, Diane Neese from Courts is here, I believe, yes. Thank you so much for your 20 years, and please, let me get you a certificate over here. Thanks so much. Here, you want to stand up there? No, I'm just kidding. Service. Alrighty, Pedro Gonzalez Gaitan from the Health Department, I believe, as well. Aaron Weekly from the Health Department. Diane Cinnamon from the Health Department. Well, you guys went on a hiring bench. I'm just kidding. 25 years, Ron Whittington from Probation. 30 years, Sharon Vanderhei from the Health Department. 35 years, John Beavis from the Health Department. I saw him, there's no escaping. Yeah, I gotta turn it on though.
I'm not necessarily going to talk about myself. I am very proud of, the length of time. I didn't realize when I started at age 24, I would still be here today and even, at this position. But there are a number of individuals that we are recognizing from the health department, and it wasn't that we all hired them magically at the same time and they're all doing this. With the past 3 years with COVID, obviously, we've been more focused on trying to conduct investigations of the illness, the contact tracing, the emergency planning, the vaccination events, and all the other work of the 28 grants that we do and these individuals do. And we would not be able to do that without their work and their efforts. So we were a little neglect in being able to recognize them on their actual anniversary days, but now as things have backed off, we are attempting to rectify that. And just with these individuals, that's almost 200 years worth of public health experience that's taking place that still work at the health department. So I am proud of that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. There's also Keith Wojnowski from the health department as well, and I don't think he's here. So, and please, thanks to everybody for your service. There's been, well, some rough times, and hopefully things have gotten a lot better for our employees, I will say that. Minutes of the last meeting, June 14th, 2022. Is there a motion? Mr. Hunter, Mr. Dunn with a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Under Claims Committee reports.
Claims Committee report for May 2022. Report total $8,205,743.16.
Is there a motion to approve the claims? Mr. Lear, second. Mr. Fairfield, not Featherfield or Fairling, as we seem to do these days. It'll be a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Hess. Aye. Mr. Tholen. Aye. Mrs. Polk.
Aye.
Mr. Snipes. Mr. Seroy.
Aye.
Mr. Lear.
Aye.
Mrs. Weber.
Aye.
Mrs. Parker.
Aye.
Mr. Fairfield.
Aye.
Mr. Kirko.
Aye.
Mr. Featherling.
Aye.
Mr. Donnell.
Aye.
Mr. Miller.
Aye.
Mr. Long.
Aye.
Mr. Hunter. Ms. Hudson. Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Mr. Hildebrand.
Aye.
Mr. Raymond.
Aye.
Ms. Foster. Mr. Wheeler.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Alrighty, motion carries. Moving on to department reports, please. We can get those read in the record.
County Collector's Monthly Report for May 2022. Total cash and bank and investments, $6,538,572.56. County Treasurer's Monthly Report for May 2022. I think I missed a sheet. Okay. Wait, I'm gonna read here.
Ending balance.
For all of them?
The sheet before that, too.
Second out there.
Well, I'm going to read the ending balance for all four banks. So, ending balance at First American Bank, $2,369,839.51. For the tax collection account at First American Bank, the ending balance $28,314.89. The ePay account at First American Bank, the ending balance is $456,656.77. In Illinois funds at U.S. Bank, the ending balance is $3,683,761.39. Coroner's monthly report for May. Total calls 102, coroner's cases 14, autopsy 6, toxicology 6, 1 donation, 60 hospice, 28 referrals, 54 cremations, 2 x-rays, 1 outside autopsy, 1 outside x-ray, 4 COVID-19, and 4 pending. The income summary report for May 2022 from the coroner, total of $7,064. Circuit clerk cash book for month ending May 2022, total disbursed $331,841.85. Recorder's monthly report for May 2022, 150 disbursement fees paid to the treasurer, $159,756.91. County clerk monthly report for May, total fees of $30,125.43. Monthly building division report for May 2022, total permits 84, total fees of $28,887. Animal control monthly report for May 2022, total of $40,303 in the IPTIP Building Fund, $388.28, and total animals handled, 113. And the quarterly report with quarter ending May 31st, 2022 is on file from the Regional Office of Education.
All right, is there a motion to combine and approve?
Polk.
Ms. Polk, Mr. Long with a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. On the consent agenda, is there anything to be considered separately? There's only a few items today. Second time, anything separate? If not, motion to combine and approve, Mr. Dunhill, second. Mr. Lear, if we can get him read in the record, please.
The appointment of Greg Hayden to the GIS Committee, the reappointment of Craig Long to the GIS Committee, the reappointment of David Sargent to the Cabery Area Fire Protection District, the reappointment of William Supernaut to the Otto Township Fire Protection District, declaration and disposal of surplus equipment for the Kankakee County Sheriff's Department, and declaration of highway equipment as surplus.
All righty, I guess we'll need a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Hess. Aye. Mr. Tholen. Aye. Mrs. Polk.
Aye.
Mr. Snipes. Mr. Seroy.
Aye.
Mr. Lear.
Aye.
Mrs. Weber.
Aye.
Mrs. Parker.
Aye.
Mr. Fairfield.
Aye.
Mr. Carrico.
Aye.
Mr. Featherling. Mr. Donnell.
Aye.
Mr. Miller.
Aye.
Mr. Long.
Aye.
Mr. Hunter.
Aye.
Ms. Hudson.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Mr. Hildebrand.
Aye.
Mr. Raymond.
Aye.
Ms. Foster.
Aye.
Mr. Wheeler.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion carries. Moving under highways and buildings, while we get that on the screen, I think there was something, wasn't there? Just for PZA? Okay. If we can get the title read in the record.
Resolution for improvement under the Illinois Highway Code.
All right.
County Highway 9, Mantino to Selm Road, Section 08-00286-00FP.
All righty. Is there a motion to approve? Mr. Carrico, a second. Mr. Featherling. Is there any questions, comment on this? Some we ran through in highways and buildings. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Hess.
Aye.
Mr. Tholen.
Aye.
Mrs. Polk.
Aye.
Mr. Snipes. Mr. Seroy.
Aye.
Mr. Lear.
Aye.
Mrs. Weber.
Aye.
Mrs. Parker. Mr. Fairfield.
Aye.
Mr. Carrico. Mr. Featherling.
Aye.
Mr. Donnell. Mr. Miller.
Aye.
Mr. Long.
Aye.
Mr. Hunter.
Aye.
Ms. Hudson. Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Mr. Hildebrand.
Aye.
Mr. Raymond.
Aye.
Ms. Foster. Mr. Wheeler.
Aye. Motion carries. The next one, please. The engineering services.
Resolution of the County Board of Kankakee County, Illinois, authorizing approval of professional services agreement for preliminary and design engineering services, phases 1 and 2, with Hutchison Engineering Incorporated for reconstruction of County Highway 9 between US 45 and Interstate Route 57, Section 08-00286-00FP.
Is there a motion on this one? Mr. Hunter and Mr. Fairfield, any explanation necessary? That's the next road project up, if you will, and as far as the MPO goes. So that's the next one from I-57 all the way across. I believe it was 4 lanes with a center turn, I believe, all the way. 5 total lanes, Ben? Yeah. It's gonna be a nice improvement, and that's coming up. When's the program year on that? 26? 24? Okay. So that's right around the corner. All righty. Roll call vote.
Mr. Hess.
Aye.
Mr. Tholen.
Aye.
Mrs. Polk.
Aye.
Mr. Snipes.
Aye.
Mr. Seroy.
Aye.
Mr. Lear.
Aye.
Mrs. Weber.
Aye.
Mrs. Parker. Mr. Fairfield.
Aye.
Mr. Carrico.
Aye.
Mr. Featherling.
Aye.
Mr. Donnell.
Aye.
Mr. Miller.
Aye.
Mr. Long.
Aye.
Mr. Hunter.
Aye.
Ms. Hudson. Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Mr. Hildebrand.
Aye.
Mr. Raymond.
Aye.
Mrs. Foster.
Aye.
Mr. Wheeler.
Aye. Motion carries. Under PZA.
Resolution of the County Board of Kankakee County, Illinois regarding ZBA case 22-03, rezoning from A1 Agriculture District to RE Rural Estates District in Section 02 of Otto Township.
Is there a motion on this to start with? Mr. Featherling and Mr. Donnell with a second. Why don't we go with Mr. Tholen? There was a tie, and I'll go to the runner. So Just a jog, maybe. No. Any questions for Del? He can run through it real quick here, but then we can open it up for questions.
It's a fairly straightforward case. It's a 5-acre tract being taken out of a 136-acre tract. The request is to rezone it from A1 agriculture to rural estate. Excuse me, it's a 10-acre tract. Got the wrong case, I'm sorry. 10-acre tract being taken out of an 80-acre parcel. Still a request from A1 to rural estate. It's located at 2736 West 6000 South Road in Shabance. Both the Zoning Board of Appeals and the Planning and Zoning Committee recommend approval.
Any questions from the committee? Yes, Ms. Weber.
I just wanted to commend that I had spoken to both of these party applicants and agree with what they want to do, so that's good.
Any other questions, comments? I guess all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. You get the next one, Red.
Resolution of the County Board of Kankakee County, Illinois regarding ZBA case 22-04, rezoning from A1 Agriculture District to RE Rural Estates District in Section 7 of Otto Township.
Is there a motion on this one? Mr. Featherling, and we'll go with Ms. Weber on the second on that one. Brief explanation there.
This is also a request for rezoning from A1 to rural estate. This one is a 5-acre tract coming out of a 136-acre tract located at 854 West 7000 South Road in Shabance. Both Zoning Board and Planning and Zoning recommend the approval.
All righty. Any questions about this one? See there. What's the north-south road there? I'm just curious. I would ask that, wouldn't I?
Yeah. 1000 West.
Okay. All right. That gives me a better idea. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All righty. Thank you, Del.
Yep.
Under executive, we can get the title read here.
Resolution of the County Board of Kankakee County, Illinois regarding reinstatement of the mileage reimbursement for county board members.
Is there a motion to approve on this one to start with?
Polk.
Ms. Polk with the motion, the second. Ms. Hudson. Is there any questions about this one? Yes, Mrs. Weber.
Thank you. At the time that executive session or executive committee met, I was helping with the primary election, so I didn't get to express my ideas, but I'd like to give 2 ideas today. One is I will not promote that we get reimbursed for our travel for 2 reasons. One is I think probably maybe 8 people on this board live 10 to 40 miles away, and I think if you gather all those mileage miles and money and times of meetings, that it would be a financial burden to the budget. And the second and last reason was expressed at that executive meeting, that people who work in this building don't receive reimbursement for coming to work and going home, so I don't think that we should receive reimbursement for coming to meetings and going home. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Is there any other comments? Yes, Mr. Snyder.
Before I respond, could you give me a brief narrative of the perimeters, the borders of as to what our intent is as far as this mileage reimbursement? Is it? She cited 10 miles out or 5 miles out. Can you give us a brief narrative as to why we reintroduce this and why it would benefit?
I was asked by board members to reinstitute, to bring it back. I believe, and Mr. Coughlin can give a better explanation of the legal side of it, but with all of the increases, the people that were in the more rural areas, it was a very large burden of an increase because we're not technically employees, so we're not being compensated as employees. People don't know it's $70 a meeting. And when you live that far away, most of that is taken up. We're talking many trips a month just now for the board meeting. So that's why it was asked to bring it back. And Mr. Coughlin can talk about the parameters, but it wouldn't take effect until the new board is seated. So it has to be voted on by this board, but when the new board is seated, and it was when we were going through layoffs is when the board stopped submitting mileage for that period. We just never started again. Yeah, we only had out-of-county mileage, so if you're on business for the county, then you would have gotten mileage at that point. So That's why it's back up as per request of many of the rural board members, but not all. So, you know, just we bring it back up. Mr. Coughlin?
And this is just it's not compensation, it's an expense reimbursement. It's going to be for whatever the standard federal reimbursement rate for mileage, and if the board decides to chooses to redo that, then any county board member will be able to submit their mileage on county business on a monthly basis. I think it's 66 cents, something like that now. But whatever the current IRS mileage reimbursement is.
Yeah, I'm not in objection to it. And matter of fact, I do support it. But one of the things I wanted to reel in on is that the county board, though the expense stayed, we decided to take it away or whatever to kind of help towards the budget and things of that nature at that particular time. So it was something that there was an entitlement, because county board members, I go to work and it takes me 4 miles to get from the high school to here and back. So when you add just that up, that's 32 miles a day. So it's not that it's a burden, and it's not that we're not we're not the employees. Employees get paid. As you know, the county board members here, that's $70, and that's not a lot when you have to, when you're inundated with individuals coming back to you to get ads in their things and all that. That money goes quickly. But just wanted to show that it is, your county board members do not really receive remuneration or whatever, and most of it's given out in gifts, but they do spend time and dollars to get here and to travel to other areas in the county when we have to go and look at certain things of that nature. So they do that, and I'm not opposed to it, but just want to highlight that even when people were giving up, the county board also gave up, including decreasing per diems and the whole 9 yards. So I'm not, again, I'll be voting for it.
Yes, Mr. Carrico.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. I just want to make a comment in here, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think each individual county board member, he or she will be welcome to not submit the request for reimbursement. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
So it's still up to the discretion of the county board member to go forward with the reimbursement or not.
Correct.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Yes, Mr. Seroy, number 4.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And just to piggyback on what Mr. Carrico said, many of us during the financial crunch time of this board and this county refused our per diems for many years. I did. I didn't take a per diem for many times, and I don't know if anybody in this room still doesn't take a per diem, but there was many times that most of us and the board just forego the per diem because we were in crunch time. Our financial situation's a little bit better right now, and there's light at the end of the tunnel. I don't think the 65.5 cents per mile is gonna sway the budget in any way. Did you have any projections, Mr. Wheeler, on the total cost? I know we talked about it, but I don't know if we had any solid figures, because everybody has since the new board, or this board, is not the same as when we were collecting divvying out mileage.
It's tough to say because of who would claim it, who would not. I'd have no precedent. I have no data to base that on, because nobody's submitting mileage reports. So you could say from your home to here and just do the math, times however many committee meetings, and then obviously your meetings you have that are, I don't know, driving by a site for a PZA, visit, seeing what's going on that way, or going to another community meeting. But so that's it.
Thank you. And I will say, if we're all traveling pretty much by automobile, okay, and everything in the automobile, not only the fuel, but everything in the automobile has gone up. So if your tire goes flat, it's a lot more expensive now than it was a year ago. So thank you.
Is there any other comments? We should do a roll call vote then, I think.
Mr. Hess. Aye. Mr. Tholen. Mrs. Polk.
Aye.
Mr. Snipes. Aye. Mr. Seroy.
Aye.
Mr. Lear.
Aye.
Mrs. Weber,
No.
Mrs. Parker,
Aye.
Mr. Fairfield,
Aye.
Mr. Carrico, Mr. Featherling,
Aye.
Mr. Donnell, Mr. Miller,
Aye.
Mr. Long,
Aye.
Mr. Hodder, Ms. Hudson,
Aye.
Mr. Smith,
No.
Mr. Hildebrand,
Aye.
Mr. Raymond,
No.
Ms. Foster,
Aye.
Mr. Wheeler.
No.
Motion carries.
Motion carries on that. So again, that won't take effect until next year. Let's see here. Moving on. Sorry, I get to this back page.
No, that's the other. That's enough. You know.
Authorize, okay, yes, 121, please.
Resolution of the County Board of Kankakee County, Illinois regarding authorizing the adjustment of the public defender salary.
Is there a motion to approve on this? Ms. Weber, second, Mr. Lear. Is there any explanation necessary for this? Public defender's salary, much like the sheriff, is pegged to the SAO. When those COLAs come out, then we've got to recalculate. So that's basically a response to that. So by law, we have to do this. Roll call vote then.
Mr. Hess.
Aye.
Mr. Tholen.
Aye.
Mrs. Polk.
Aye.
Mr. Snipes.
Aye.
Mr. Seroy.
Aye.
Mr. Lear.
Aye.
Mrs. Weber.
Aye.
Mrs. Parker.
Aye.
Mr. Fairfield.
Aye.
Mr. Carrico.
Aye.
Mr. Featherling.
Aye.
Mr. Donnell. Mr. Miller.
Aye.
Mr. Long.
Aye.
Mr. Hodder. Ms. Hudson. Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Mr. Hildebrand.
Aye.
Mr. Raymond.
Aye.
Ms. Foster.
Aye.
Mr. Wheeler.
Aye. All righty. Motion carries. Moving on, if we could read the title of the next one, please.
Resolution of the County Board of Kankakee County, Illinois, authorizing the County Board Chairman to sign an intergovernmental agreement for animal and rabies control services with the Village of Grant Park.
Do we have a motion to start with Mrs. Parker, a second with Mr. Smith? Any explanation necessary from Carrie? She's got details if you need it. Pretty much mirrors all of our other ones. Costs are different because population's different, but pretty much the same deal. Okay, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Hess.
Aye.
Mr. Tholen.
Aye.
Mrs. Polk.
Aye.
Mr. Snipes.
Aye.
Mr. Seroy.
Aye.
Mr. Lear.
Aye.
Mrs. Weber.
Aye.
Mrs. Parker.
Aye.
Mr. Fairfield.
Aye.
Mr. Carrico.
Aye.
Mr. Featherling.
Aye.
Mr. Donnell.
Aye.
Mr. Miller.
Aye.
Mr. Long.
Aye.
Mr. Hodder. Ms. Hudson.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Mr. Hildebrand.
Aye.
Mr. Raymond.
Aye.
Ms. Foster.
Aye.
Mr. Wheeler.
Aye. Motion carries. And the final one under executive, please.
Resolution of the County Board of Kankakee County, Illinois regarding resolution for the selection of judges of election.
All righty, is there a motion on this one, please? It's an official thing that we have to do for the judges. Mr. Hess, second. Mr. Tholen, any questions? Do we need roll call on this?
Nope.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I didn't know if we were agreeing to pay them, so.
We're just agreeing to approve them.
That's true. They gotta show up to get paid, right?
Exactly.
All right. Now, executive session for the purchase of real estate, 55 ILCS 5/5/1005, and pending litigation, 5 ILCS 120/2C11. Is there a motion to go into executive session? Mr. Hunter, Mrs. Parker, roll call to go in, right?
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Hess.
Aye.
Mr. Tholen.
Aye.
Mrs. Polk.
Aye.
Mr. Snipes.
Aye.
Mr. Seroy.
Aye.
Mr. Lear.
Aye.
Mrs. Weber.
Aye.
Mrs. Parker.
Aye.
Mr. Fairfield.
Aye.
Mr. Carrico.
Aye.
Mr. Featherling.
Aye.
Mr. Donnell. Mr. Miller.
Aye.
Mr. Long.
Aye.
Mr. Hodder. Ms. Hudson.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Mr. Hildebrand.
Aye.
Mr. Raymond.
Aye.
Ms. Foster.
Aye.
Mr. Wheeler.
Aye. Motion carries. Give us just a moment, please. Does anyone need to take a All right, we are back from executive session. All board members still present. If we could get the title of 124 read in the record, please.
Resolution of the County Board of Kankakee County, Illinois, authorizing the county board chairman to sign an agreement for the purchase of real estate for animal control facility building.
Actually, can we read 125 because they have to go together or we don't have a deal? And we'll get a motion to combine and approve.
Right.
Yeah, I got you.
Resolution of the County Board of Kankakee County, Illinois, authorizing the county board chairman to sign an agreement for the purchase of real estate for animal control facility land.
All right, the building and then the land. All right, Ms. Hudson with the motion, second, Mr. Alexander Hildebrand. Any discussion here? Would we like to see a presentation of the, I think it might be good to throw that up here, Jason, and just talk through it briefly. Do we have that ready to go on the screen? Do you have it on yours, Jason, to share?
I don't.
Okay.
Do you still have it on your side?
We have it in the packet, so if you want to refer to it in the packet, that's okay. The public has already seen it in the other meeting, and we could repurpose that if need be. But I just want to make sure everybody has any questions about the facility on what we're doing. You know, with I don't want to say state of the art because that implies that is the most expensive thing we could buy. That's not the case, but it's functionally state of the art in terms of the way that we need to manage that facility in terms of ergonomics, employee welfare, animal welfare, flow, process, cleanliness, contagion. We didn't mention that one before. All the sick dogs would have to come into the current facility and be with the other non-sick dogs. That tends to spread very quickly throughout a facility. So there's more than one reason to do this than just the poor condition of the animal control facility now. It's beyond poor. I don't even know if it would be, we would issue an occupancy permit for that if the county went out there these days. So anyways, we have a motion, so Andy, and a second on that.
If you want me to run through it, I'm trying to log in from a second device. I don't know if somebody can admit me into the meeting from this other device. I could probably pull up the presentation real quick if you'd like me to do that.
I think Kelly's doing that, yeah. So
okay.
Joining.
Yep, looks like it's connecting now.
You go to
Give me 1 second here. Oh, can you enable screen sharing?
Yeah, it's his evil twin.
Okay, give me 1 second here. Okay, can everybody see that?
Not that.
Are you able to see the site plan now?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'll skip past the earlier two slides were really kind of the work we did to lay the groundwork to determine the size of the building and all of that, and working with Carrie and her team to get that sorted out. So quickly, the existing property has the parking lot here, and then you can see the existing building right here. The existing building's about 3,500 square feet. And we're looking at about a 4,100 square foot addition off the backside, which is predominantly focused on animal housing areas and some of the supportive elements. I'll show a floor plan here in a moment. And then a second partial addition here of about 1,100 square feet to the west side or northwest side of the existing building that's going to accommodate animal transfer, garage space, some supportive areas, mechanicals, freezers, that sort of thing. And then we've also got some additional staff parking being added. So you can see there's kind of a faint dash line on the property. The area in the pie shape or the wedge shape to the northwest is the vacant land. And then the other parcel is obviously the building and the existing parking lot that's being used. So we're adding parking, and I know there was a comment at the committee meeting about taking a little closer look at whether we could maybe add some more parking. We're going to continue to evaluate that as we progress the design. We have to add stormwater detention. We have to upgrade a couple utilities to the property to add fire protection sprinkler system in the building. But we've got the capability to have some indoor-outdoor dog runs, We've got some outdoor animal areas that are a little bit larger, potential for some adoption if that's feasible, or just a little bit more outdoor exercise. So overall, I think the site works out great. Andy, as you said earlier, it's in a bit of an industrial area. It's zoned currently M1 limited manufacturing zoning. There's several lots around this that are already vacant or still vacant. There's a manufacturing facility just to the north and a couple other facilities nearby, but it's in the right neighborhood, if you will, in terms of the uses for having the dogs be able to go indoor and outdoor. We do need to process a special use approval for the project. We've been working with the Village of Bourbonnais closely on getting that sorted out, and they've identified that it's really conceived of as a special use. It's not a permitted use by standard zoning, but it's allowed as a special use. It just needs a little consideration from the Plan Commission. So it'll be under the use of pet care, essentially, is how it's defined. And we've made that submittal now to the Village of Bourbonnais as of last Thursday formally, and it's scheduled for Plan Commission public hearing on the 27th at 5:30 p.m. So as I said, the site I think works out really well for what you're proposing to do here. And I'll just flip to the floor plan real quick, so a little closer view. We're looking to utilize the existing building as much as we can for some of the office functions. It was kind of almost like a light retail space previously, so pretty simple open space, single-story building. So we're looking to add some of the offices there, open office spaces, conferencing break areas. We have a little bit of animal holding for cats in the side here. Some upgrades to some of the toilet rooms and so forth to meet code and everything with the expanded square footage. And then the addition is really focused on animal housing and a lot of the supportive spaces, kind of a vet space, staging, food storage, a lot of the animal control operations side of things. And then, as I said, this gray area here is the vehicle bay, so that animal collection vehicle can pull inside the building and do a transfer, so you don't have a risk of an animal getting free, and then some of the mechanical spaces. So again, this is just a kind of a quick initial rendering view. The gray building is the existing, it's existing concrete masonry units that's painted, and what we're looking at is an addition. It needs to be a fire rated exterior wall, so it'll be a durable concrete masonry unit. And then we're looking at adding probably like an exterior stucco system to the outside to meet energy code for insulation. But again, trying to keep it pretty simple in terms of the design. The focus here is really about it being, a good functional facility to better address the overall needs for animal control and to provide more space to do that. So that's kind of just a quick overview of the building design. We've developed it as a concept so far. There's still more design work to do, and I think speaking to the cost discussion, a lot of that is stuff that will continue to be evaluated. We have to finish the rest of the design, and then we can look at what's the best timing to bid the project in the marketplace. Ultimately, we're going to have to go through a public procurement process to try to find the lowest responsible bidder for the construction. And again, it is a volatile market. Maybe a little bit of good news is seems like gas prices have actually taken a little bit of a dip down. We look at things like commodity prices too, for steel and lumber and all that kind of stuff. There are some indications of some of those prices going down. Nobody's got a crystal ball, but I think we're trying to right now plan for appropriate levels of contingencies for market volatility, and then just do the best we can to get the best deal in the market when the time comes.
So as far as the building goes, we'll go with some questions from folks first on the actual building. If you have questions for Carrie on operations or space or what she's looking to get out of it, please. Go with Mr. Snipes first.
First of all, thank you. I believe that we're moving aesthetically from the kind of like dinosaur pre-stage age to now the new millennial stage, looking at the work, looking at the design, and then also our responsibility to make sure that we are not planning for today but for the future. I think it's a great idea, and I don't think it belabors us to to approve this. It's almost like a no-brainer, but thank you for your work.
Mr. Hunter.
Mr. Chairman, thank you again for remembering my comments regarding the parking lot, the storm retention, and the staff space. And I hopefully we're not getting into verbal gymnastics in terms of assessment and so forth. You know, I'm candidly concerned about the parking, as I know I heard you guys talking about parking down the street, etc. And I know, for example, that we want to showcase this place once it's constructed and finished. And I'm just wondering if we're going to have the amount of space for parking to accommodate the traffic. Again, let's make sure we take care of the employees for their working space as well too. I'm just going to keep mentioning that, and I'd make sure that those kinds of things that have been articulated, and I appreciate the open forum here to discuss this whole matter. So let's make sure that we do what we must do in order to accommodate the public as well as our employees and the animals.
Thank you. You got it. And I think you'll see some evolution on that, as Jason mentioned.
Thank you.
But yeah, I think, you know, from Carrie's perspective, and I'm not going to speak for you, but she has told me she is, and Jason as well, we have the requisite numbers of spaces, but the configurations, the ability to handle visitors, those are things that we're going to be looking at in the future, obviously. So the other thoughts, Mr. Featherman, sorry.
How about some, I always hear about it. We've been talking about it. I was on the committee for couple of years, and what's start, finish, construction, what's kind of dates are we looking at here?
What's your crystal ball like, Jason?
Well, so, you know, we've got, as I mentioned, we've got to go through the special use process. I mean, that is intended to be wrapped up in mid-August, and then the county can move forward with completing acquisition of the parcels. We've got more design to do, so that'll take probably a couple months. You know, and then we're starting to get into winter time. I think as I'm seeing it now, we want to try to get the design done toward the end of this year, late fall. And then we can kind of evaluate market conditions at that time to go out to bid for the project. Right now, I'm targeting probably a construction start in spring, just knowing that we've got site work that's got to be done. It's pretty costly to do that over the winter time frame. And then a project like this, you know, I think to be safe, you're probably talking 8 months. Maybe it could be a little bit sooner. So we'll detail out a schedule a little bit more in that. But, you know, by getting the documentation done quickly, you've got then a little bit of ability to figure out when's the best time in the market, talking to local trade contractor partners to determine, you know, what fits well with their availability and, you know, to get best pricing essentially.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's I will get into the bond side of it, but that bond closing is September 28th if everything lines up correctly. And so our closings would be similar. Would you say that we may be able to get in there and do some work in the building itself that currently exists and maybe not waste the winter, kind of get the, you know, cleaned out, get it ready to go in pre-construction, if you will? I don't know how to better way to say that.
Yeah, I think that's possible. I mean, certainly, you know, we want to find efficiencies by packaging the construction kind of tightly so that it doesn't stretch out too far, because that can also add cost. But, you know, there's a little bit of demolition that's got to be done too to allow for the new construction. So, you know, we're open to exploring that in any more detail. I mean, I certainly, knowing the existing facility, there's, you know, some urgency to get a new and better facility up and running as quickly as possible. So, you know, we're aware of that. And again, it's a little bit of just timing to figure out when's the best time to do the work so that you're getting the best you know, best price in the market too.
Sure. Any more questions for Jason? I want to make sure you're good there, because this is the building and property part. We'll move on to the finance part of it next. So would you like to run through on the costs real quick for the committees and public purpose? So the vacant lot next door, which we had to acquire, was a $100,000 lot. That was paid for with will be paid for with the contribution of Bark. That's what they raised money for, was a new facility. They've agreed to contribute the $100,000 there. The building and lot, the current structure that we saw there and the lot it sits on, is the $499,900. We have the appraisals on that. We have the estimates that if you built that building, it would be much, much more than that, at least 700, probably more. That's our materials problem that we're looking at. It's better to buy a built building than it is to build from scratch, as we're seeing on the back end of this. The infrastructure, like we have to extend the sprinklers into the building all the way through. We have to sprinkle everything, actually. It's not now. But it's not going to be that costly. But things like that, we have an infrastructure grant from Senator Joyce, and that's going to go to this as well.
Was that $100K?
$100,000, yes. And the addition that we originally budgeted for was $1.5 million, because that's what it would have cost back when things were normal. We're going to handle the ARPA funds. That's the bond that we're going to talk about in a minute, and then we're going to use ARPA funds to cover off the remainder based on current estimates. It's around 1.75 million of ARPA funds to do that. Now it could be less, could be a little more, depending on the market conditions that we're talking about. The decision we're making today is this the right property? If so, we've got to grab it because it won't be there forever. And the property next door, we have the package ready to go, and then we'll pull the string on the purchasing, as Jason said, when those market conditions are most advantageous to us. Or not, as the case may be. I mean, we could be seeing this movie next year at this time and then just realize we have until 26 to spend the money. I don't want to wait till 26 to go look for another building, is my opinion. So total project cost, $3.9499 million. And it's imperative that people understand there would be zero local property tax dollars used on this project. Not one dime of local property taxes from our local taxpayers will go to this project. It's completely and totally financed outside of that. And I think that it should be a win for our people. You know, because if the IPTIP fund is going to pay for that bond, the 1.5, it's coming from licenses and fees and fines. And so that will sustain it over time, and they can still operate in their new facility and handle that bond. So it's kind of a big deal to be able to say that we're building a $3.9499 million building with no property taxes from our local people. So anyway, that's the information. Is there any more info you would need from me? We do have a motion and a second, correct?
Mm-hmm.
We ready for roll call?
Yes.
Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Hess.
Aye.
Mr. Tholen.
Aye.
Mrs. Polk.
Aye.
Mr. Snipes. Mr. Seroy.
Aye.
Mr. Lear.
Aye.
Mrs. Weber.
Aye.
Mrs. Parker.
Aye.
Mr. Fairfield.
Aye.
Mr. Carrico.
Aye.
Mr. Featherling.
Aye.
Mr. Donnell.
Aye.
Mr. Miller.
Aye.
Mr. Long.
Aye.
Mr. Hunter.
Aye.
Ms. Hudson.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Mr. Hildebrand.
Aye.
Mr. Raymond.
Aye.
Ms. Foster.
Aye.
Mr. Wheeler.
Aye. Motion carries. Motion to reconsider, Ms. Parker? No, I'm just kidding. Sorry. Yeah. So we're not done yet, though. We got to pay for it. So the next conversation would be about the bond. And so I will take the motion to approve. I want to make sure I say this the right way because sometimes there's legalities to this stuff. Steve, is there anything I need to say specifically? I've been leaning on you for this. Maybe we have the title read in the record.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, it's probably the best thing to do.
Read the
Yeah.
title in and.
Yeah. Sorry about that. You're on.
An ordinance authorizing the issuance of general obligation bonds, alternate revenue source of the County of Kankakee, Illinois, in one or more series in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $1.5 million for the purpose of financing the costs of certain capital projects within the county and paying for costs related thereto.
Right.
Motion second.
And we have a motion on the floor. Mr. Donnell, second. Mr. Long. Now we do, Steve, you want to take over this part of it and handle the bond presentation with our guest?
Is this on? Okay. Yeah, I'd like to introduce Robert Bale or Bob Bale from Bernardi Securities. He's the Director of Public Finance. The county, we've been working with Bernardi Securities since 2004. Probably 2003, but with the Sheriff Administration building, the corner building, the garage, and the jail expansion,
Ever since then, Bernardi Securities has been a great partner with us, helped us through the difficult times. They help us through the disclosure requirements related to these bonds. And a lot of you don't know, those original series were 2004 and 2005 A and B. They're now 2011, 2012. And Bob Dale was a big part of that for interest savings and refunding those bonds and great savings for the county for that. So I'm sure as the economy goes over the next 20 years, that he'll assist us as well if we can save money on these bonds down the road. So I'll let Bob discuss the bonds.
Thanks. I think he just committed you for another 20 years in your career, so please.
Retired bond.
An exit strategy. I don't know if I do now. Good morning, everybody. I'm Bob Vale with Bernardi Securities. I wanted to run through a quick presentation that's in your packet. Just basically hit the high points and then obviously take any questions from the board that you may have. If we skip to the next slide, that slide. Basically, the next couple of slides here just give a brief kind of background of Bernardi Securities. We're a municipal bond specialist. This is our business, financing and refinancing projects like this. We've been around doing this here in Illinois since 1984. I've been working with Bernardi since 1998. And we're obviously looking forward to helping the county potentially on this animal control project. If we turn to slide 3, the next slide, that just shows you historically bond issues. Bernardi Securities has worked with the county since 2004. And I actually worked with Steve in the county on those issues. So going back to 2004, we've underwritten every public issue that the county has issued, as well as the Public Building Commission. Turning to page 4, the next slide, this is an important slide because this shows the current outstanding debt of the county. And as you'll see, basically in 2.5 years, the county will have paid off approximately 78% or 77% of its outstanding bonded debt. So the 2011, 2012, 2012A bonds, those are all maturing here in 2024. So December 1st of 2024. And you'll see that rapid amortization schedule here at the county. So a lot of the debt is being paid off of the county here within the next couple of years. Page 5 shows the current legal debt margin or debt limit of the county. And you'll see, based on the outstanding debt and the assessed value of the county has approximately $56.5 million in debt capacity available. So you have a very large debt margin that's still outstanding. And with this bond issue and then bonds being paid off, as your EAV continues to grow, you're probably not going to see much of a change in that debt margin. The next couple of pages just show some graphs on where interest rates have been. Everybody's probably heard interest rates are going up, and that's really occurred here since about the first of the year. But it's important to kind of realize that while rates have gone up, if you look at a 10-year period, which is what this graph is showing, we're basically average. We're basically on that average point of where interest rates have been since 2012. So you'll look at the, back in 2020 and 2021, those are near historic lows. Yeah, rates have gone up, but we're still basically trending about average over this 10-year period. And then turning that to the next page, if you go back 40 years, we're still towards the bottom of that yield curve. While rates have gone up, you'll see those last couple of years over that 40-year period, those were the bottom. And we're still relatively low from an interest rate standpoint. Obviously, that impacts the interest the county is going to be paying on the project. And we're not going to know what that's going to be until we get to the point in September when we're issuing bonds. But this just gives you a brief history, 10 and 40 years of where rates have been. If you turn to page 8, what are the actual rates? This just gives 3 tranches, non-rated, A-rated, AA-rated bonds going out from 1 year to 20 years. These are the rates that we're using in our presentation here and our numbers that we've been running with Steve and the chairman in regards to potential repayment dollar amounts
that I'll show you in a second. So this changes daily as interest rates fluctuate, but currently these are rates that we're using here in the presentation. Page 9, what would the actual repayment schedule look like? So currently we're estimating net project proceeds from the bond issue of about 1.4 million. You'll see the principal and interest payments, and then that total debt service. We're planning to amortize the bonds out 20 years, so a 20-year level repayment. And currently with rates today, you're looking at a fixed rate of about 4.7%, and that average payment or average annual payment's about $110,000. And as the chairman had stated previously, we're planning on having that paid solely from animal control revenues. So that is approximately what that payment would be over the life of the bonds. And then the last page I wanted to cover, timeline. The financing timeline, we met with the Finance Committee back on June 29th. And then here we are, July 12th. This is the first step in the bonding process. There's 3 steps from the county, 3 county board actions that need to occur, just that have occurred on the prior bond issue. It's the exact same steps, but the first step today is the authorizing ordinance, which you have in your packets, which basically define the not to exceed dollar amount, the pledged revenues to repay the bonds, and the purpose of the bond issue. That sits out for 30 days. We come back August 9th, the next county board meeting. We have the public hearing, where again we will state the purpose of the bond issue and take any communication from residents. And then lastly, with the actual bond ordinance, parameters bond ordinance, stating the not to exceed sale parameters. And we would look to then price the bond issue later that week, so approximately September 15th. So September 15th is when we would actually lock in the interest rate. There we would know exactly what the repayment schedule would look like. And then approximately 2 weeks later, the end of September, September 28th, look at closing the bond issue. And at that point, funds would be dispersed to the county for the project. So that's basically the financing information in a nutshell. And I didn't know if there was any questions for me.
I had one quick one. Steve and I, for the group's knowledge, had just met with Moody's. Nita was on the call as well. We're expecting a positive reaction from Moody's because we've had incredibly positive things happening with our finances. That should happen before we go out in September, correct?
Hopefully,
if it happens.
Hopefully, we'll know tomorrow, and then we'll have a follow-up before, and then that'll be built into when it's closed.
And that kind of spurs another little smaller process with you guys once that happens? Okay.
Yes, so we had the surveillance, the county has a surveillance with Moody's every year. They're basically looking at your credit rating after your audit comes out. There'll be as Stephen mentioned, we should get the results of that tomorrow or Thursday. And then as part of the bond issue, we'll want to get the bonds rated. We'll again go back to Moody's, but since we've just had the prior meeting last week, it'll likely be a short meeting, just updating them on these bonds and anything that's occurred between now and when we go to them, and then get another bond rating at that time.
Okay.
If you get it, I'll.
Any other questions about the bond process? Did we have a motion in a second? I apologize.
Yes.
We did have a motion in a second. So are we ready for roll call vote on this? Roll call vote, please. Sorry, this is pretty tedious. I'm sorry to keep you, but we got to do it.
Mr. Hess.
Aye.
Mr. Tholen.
Aye.
Mrs. Polk.
Aye.
Mr. Snipes.
Aye.
Mr. Seroy.
Aye.
Mr. Lear.
They don't have to see.
Mrs. Weber. Mrs. Parker.
Aye.
Mr. Fairfield.
Aye.
Mr. Carrico.
Aye.
Mr. Featherling.
Aye.
Mr. Donnell.
Aye.
Mr. Miller.
Aye.
Mr. Long.
Aye.
Mr. Hunter.
Aye.
Ms. Hudson.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Mr. Hildebrand.
Aye.
Mr. Raymond. Ms. Foster.
Aye.
Mr. Wheeler.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Just to reiterate, I want to mention that $499,000 for the building, that's already, we have that already. That we're not borrowing any money. That's something that Animal Control has been saving. Bark, $100,000. Senator Joyce, $100,000. So really the only new money is the bond and whatever the extra build out will be. pretty positive series of events here on this.
Collaboration.
Yeah. Alrighty, moving on. Let's see here.
127.
127. Yes, please.
Resolution of the County Board of Kankakee County, Illinois, authorizing the County Board Chairman to sign an intergovernmental agreement between the County of Kankakee and the Kankakee County Health Department.
Is there a motion on this one to start with? Mr. Carrico, second. Mr. Smith. Any explanation needed on this one? Briefly, the bonds ended, or the bonds were reissued for the health department. We refied them, but we didn't extend the agreement to handle the services that the PBC does, which is, you know, the audit and all of the finance and paying the bonds and stuff. So this just extends that out a little bit longer. Still split 88-12, I believe. Correct, John?
That's correct.
Okay. All right. I got a head nod too. Yes, Steve, please.
Did we make changes to that final audit language or on that agreement, the final audit?
What was that?
As far as who's paying for that final audit, the language of that, has that been clarified yet before we?
Oh, okay, yeah, there was a misunderstanding. I forgot about that, I apologize. Yeah, thanks for reminding me. They had put in there that we were gonna pay for the final audit, and that is not something we've ever done. That's always been the PBC, that's why we pay the fees. So we're gonna hammer that out over the next day, but if it is anything different than that, we will bring it back. That because the amendment on here is that we don't pay the final audit, the PBC does. That's why we give the fees. John, is that your understanding?
I'm not quite sure my understanding, but I did see that language was in there, and it did pique my curiosity.
Yes, basically John is saying it piqued his curiosity for the record. So when we just noticed that in a review, so that question went back out again, and in the past, the PBC has paid for the audit with the fees. So we're gonna get that clarified that was just a typo, and we're passing it as such that we're not paying for the last audit. So if it's any different, it'll come back here, believe me. Just waiting on that answer, and then Mr. Clark was on vacation. So under that auspice, I guess could somebody make that motion to amend that one section that we are not paying for the final audit? Mr. Miller, a second. Mr. Tholen, all those in favor of that amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. All righty, back to the original question. We have a motion, a second, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And we are spending? Roll call vote, please. I don't know, my brain hurts.
Mr. Hess.
Aye.
Mr. Tholen.
Aye.
Mrs. Polk.
Aye.
Mr. Snipes.
Aye.
Mr. Seroy.
Aye.
Mr. Lear.
Aye.
Mrs. Weber.
Aye.
Mrs. Parker.
Aye.
Mr. Fairfield.
Aye.
Mr. Carrico.
Aye.
Mr. Fatherling.
Aye.
Mr. Donnell. Mr. Miller.
Aye.
Mr. Long.
Aye.
Mr. Hunter.
Aye.
Ms. Hudson.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Mr. Hildebrand.
Aye.
Mr. Raymond.
Aye.
Mr. Foster. Ms. Foster.
Aye.
Mr. Wheeler.
Aye. Motion carries. 128 into the record, please.
Resolution of the County Board of Kankakee County, Illinois, authorizing the transfer of funds from fiscal year fund number 95, America Rescue Plan Fund, to fiscal year 2022 fund number 098, America Rescue Plan Fund, lost revenue.
Alrighty, is there a motion on that one first? Mr. Donnell, second. Mr. Hunter. Steve, any explanation there? Just to make sure everybody knows this is a cleanup, I believe.
Yeah, we're given two options from the feds with the ARPA funds. One, to take a 10 million flat in one time, or to do this calculation every year. So this is calculation number 2. This lost revenue can be used for infrastructure. So this is what will be used for the animal control facility, what we were just talking about, and other infrastructure throughout the county, and it's to the discretion of the county board at use of lost revenue. So this is calculation number 2 of 4.
Of 4? Okay, thank you. Alrighty, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Hess.
Aye.
Mr. Tholen.
Aye.
Mrs. Polk.
Aye.
Mr. Snipes.
Aye.
Mr. Seroy.
Aye.
Mr. Lear.
Aye.
Mrs. Weber.
Aye.
Mrs. Parker.
Aye.
Mr. Fairfield.
Aye.
Mr. Carrico.
Aye.
Mr. Fatherling.
Aye.
Mr. Donnell.
Aye.
Mr. Miller.
Aye.
Mr. Long.
Aye.
Mr. Hunter. Ms. Hudson. Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Mr. Hildebrand.
Aye.
Mr. Raymond.
Aye.
Ms. Foster.
Aye.
Mr. Wheeler.
Aye. Motion carries. Under the ARPA fund projects, there is a consent agenda. Does any of those need to be talked about separately than the others? I will go a second time. Any separate than the others? Motion to combine and approve. Mr. Hunter, second. Mr. Fairfield. If we can just get those read into the record, please. Just the
Authorizing expenditure from fiscal year 2022, Fund 95, America Rescue Plan Fund for the following: Better Cut Lawn Care, Chiropractic Associates of Kankakee, Crew Screw Incorporated, McElroy Communications, and amending Resolution 2022-04-12-61, authorizing the expenditures of America Rescue Plan Fund Acts fiscal year 2021, Fund 95, Jesse Bell Lane Memorial Park.
All righty, we have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Hess.
Aye.
Mr. Tholen.
Aye.
Mrs. Polk.
Aye.
Mr. Snipes.
Aye.
Mr. Seroy.
Aye.
Mr. Lear.
Aye.
Mrs. Weber.
Aye.
Mrs. Parker.
Aye.
Mr. Fairfield.
Aye.
Mr. Carrico.
Aye.
Mr. Featherling.
Aye.
Mr. Donnell.
Aye.
Mr. Miller.
Aye.
Mr. Long.
Aye.
Mr. Hunter.
Aye.
Ms. Hudson.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Mr. Hildebrand.
Aye.
Mr. Raymond.
Aye.
Ms. Foster.
Yes.
Mr. Wheeler.
Aye. Motion carries. Under lost revenue projects, just the title, please.
Amending Resolution 2022-01-11-13, authorizing expenditure from fiscal year 2022, Fund Number 98, America Rescue Plan Lost Revenue Fund, Kankakee County Coroner for HVAC and air filtration system.
Motion on that one to start with. We'll go with Mr. Featherling and a second, Mr. Alexander Hildebrand. This is the one where the parts are on order and then all of a sudden they said, well, you might get them, you might never get them. So this is for the negative pressure out at the corner. So I just want to explain that to the public. We had to adjust the price because we want to make sure we get stuff. So roll call vote, please.
Mr. Hess.
Aye.
Mr. Tholen.
Aye.
Mrs. Polk.
Aye.
Mr. Snipes.
Aye.
Mr. Seroy.
Aye.
Mr. Lear.
Aye.
Mrs. Weber.
Aye.
Mrs. Parker.
Aye.
Mr. Fairfield.
Aye.
Mr. Carrico.
Aye.
Mr. Featherling.
Aye.
Mr. Donnell.
Aye.
Mr. Miller.
Aye.
Mr. Long.
Aye.
Mr. Hunter.
Aye.
Ms. Hudson. Mr. Smith.
Aye.
Mr. Hildebrand.
Aye.
Mr. Raymond.
Aye.
Ms. Foster. Mr. Wheeler.
Aye. Motion carries. We got a few openings.
One opening on the Clawson Park Drainage District, one opening on the X-Line Creek Drainage District, one opening on the Pilot Township Fire Protection District, one opening on the Kankakee County Historic Preservation Commission, one opening on the Kankakee County Board District 4.
Boy, making moves already. What's going on?
We'll strike that
Yeah,
one.
we're gonna strike that one.
Two openings on the St. Anne Fire Protection District, two openings on the Kankakee River Valley Forest Preserve District Board, two openings on the Canavan Drainage District, two openings on the Mancino Number 9 Drainage District, 6 openings on the Kankakee County Regional Planning Commission.
All right. Any new business? Old business? New, Mr. Snipes?
Just want to make a comment because I read some disturbing news in the paper, but I do want to send out my comments as far as this, our Kankakee County Visitor Bureau individual, Stacy. I think she did a great job. I think her having to resign under the midst of controversy was distasteful and an act of bullying, but I do want to state that I appreciate everything that she has done, even during the COVID times when Kankakee was, well, everybody was kind of like in-house and limited in movement. They continued the energy for this particular county. So just my sentiments that she would be missed, but just want to send a statement basically stating that I appreciate the work that she had done while she was in that position here in Kankakee County.
Thank you. Anybody else? New, old business? Other business? How about a motion to adjourn? Mr. Hess, second by Ms. Hudson. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign.